Hello. It's good to see you again. How are you feeling today? Okay. So, today is your 11th therapy session. Today, we're going to be looking at, in a little more detail, how our behaviour influences how we feel and how we think about things. And we talked about this a little bit last time. If you'd like a reminder of that session, you can watch it here. It should pop up on the screen. Before we do that though, let's take a little time to think about how your week has been. So, I asked you to keep a diary for me where you record your feelings and your thoughts every day. Is that it there? Can I take a look? Thank you. Okay, so let me see. Okay. Alright, so I can see that there's been days here that have been quite good for you, but then a few that have been a little more challenging. I think, excuse me, what we're going to do today can really help on these days. Okay, so let's begin with a diagram to kind of remind us where we left off last week. I think that diagrams are really helpful. They help us to not only store memories, but they're also very useful in the retrieval of those memories. And this is because the part of our brains that is responsible for the processing of visual images is much larger than the part that is responsible for processing words. Okay, so last week we talked about the connection between these elements. So when something happens, the event, we make an interpretation, we have a thought about it. And the type of thought we have, the way that we think about something, influences how we feel. Then how we feel influences what we do. So when we're feeling good, we get out in the world and we get things done and we enjoy things. When we don't feel good, we don't do that. We do the opposite of that. We withdraw, retreat. Now, what we do, our behaviour, influences in turn how we feel, and also how we think, how we feel, and So it can be a good point at which to break a vicious cycle. So if we get caught in a cycle of negative thinking and feeling and doing, if we can change what we do here, it will have an impact. It will change the dynamic of that cycle from something negative to something positive. And what we were talking about last week was if we can engage in activities that give us a sense of achievement and pleasure, that's going to affect these other elements. Today I'm going to talk about a behaviour that you've probably heard of called self-care. I'll give you this to take home with you. Now, self-care seems like a reasonably straightforward, obvious concept, but actually it's quite tricky to put into practice. So what we're going to do today is talk about why it's important, but also how to do it. Probably more importantly, how to do it. Okay, so that diagram demonstrates one of the reasons it's important. What we do, how we behave, how we treat ourselves influences how we feel and how we think. So we treat ourselves well, we feel better. And it also over time suggests to us that we have a value or worth. If we don't, it doesn't. The other thing about self-care that is interesting and important is that other people tend to treat us the way we treat ourselves. And we are drawn to people who treat us the way we treat ourselves. But it's no mean feat to care for ourselves, to treat ourselves well. It seems to be quite easy to subjugate our needs, to put ourselves second in preference to others, particularly if our self-esteem is very tied to being liked, to pleasing others. But equally, if we don't like ourselves very much, it can be hard to carve out time for ourselves to justify doing that. Easier to find other ways of spending our time. But it's so important, as the diagram demonstrates. So, let's see what we can do today. Let's begin by making a list of the things we can do for ourselves. I'll be the scribe. You think of the ideas, so you can just sit and think. We make 3 lists. A list of daily self-care activities, weekly self-care activities, and fortnightly or monthly activities. So, let's begin with daily self-care activities. Okay, so what do you think? Okay, good. So very simply just wash, prepare and dress yourself well for the day. Another important one, eat well. It seems so obvious, doesn't it? But it's surprisingly easy to put that to one side when we feel bad. A good bedtime routine. Sleep is so healing, and having a good routine is fundamental to getting a good night's sleep. What else? Relaxation time, so reading, watching telly, drawing, whatever works for you, I think. And exercise, good, yeah. And I think it's important that we say that it doesn't have to be a big workout in the gym. It can be just a walk. And I think that the research shows that walking is the most effective type of exercise, principally because it's sustainable and accessible to everybody. So it's easy to do and keep going. Okay. Weekly self-care. Any ideas? Okay. Meeting friends. Hobbies. Yoga. Netball. Art classes. Good. Online learning. I like that. I think if it's something that energises you, nurtures you, it's a very good idea. Okay, so now let's move on to fortnightly and monthly self-care. What do you think? A meal out. Good, I like that. Cinema. A night away. Pampering. Yeah, I think that's a good one to put here. Massage, having your nails done, your hair done. Buying something for yourself. Doesn't have to be something big at all. Okay, so let me give that to you to take away and see if you can add to it. Because the interesting thing is, once you kind of get into this, you get better at coming up with ideas. Okay, next thing. We need to overcome that self-critical part of our mind that says we don't deserve this and that there's a better way of spending our time. So let's see if we can come up with an alternative thought that you can put in its place. What do you think? Yes, I like that. So how I treat myself has a big impact on my mood, the way that I think about myself, if I look after myself. Sorry, if I don't look after myself, I can't expect anyone else to. Okay, so the next important thing is to basically schedule this in. Like you're making an appointment, any type of an appointment. It takes out the negotiation, then there's no, have I got time for this? Haven't I got time for this? Should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? Just put it in your diary. Okay. Now, once this is in place, the next challenge is to keep it going. So what I suggest is that you make a note of all the things that you're doing. And then once a month, the first of the month is often a good time to do this. Review how it's going. Sort of check up on yourself. But let's make a start just for a week this week. And we'll see next week when we meet what impact it's had on how you feel and how you're thinking about things. It's going to be interesting to see, I think. Okay. Do you have any questions or worries or concerns about any of that? Okay. Okay, so it was nice spending time with you today. I hope that you enjoyed it too. And I will look forward to seeing you at the same time next week for another therapy session.